Everyone I talk to in this credit card game has been focused on one thing this year: consolidation. But let's face it, if you've never canceled a credit card before, it can be a scary process. While it sounds simple, like you just have to call the bank, cancel it, and move on, if you do it the wrong way, you can tank your credit score, lose all of your credit card points, and honestly just cost yourself a lot of money without even realizing it. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to cancel credit cards safely, what actually happens to your credit score when you do, and how to know whether you even should be canceling a credit card in the first place. And on top of that, I'll break down exactly why I personally canceled 6 credit cards over the past 6 months, so you can see how all of this plays out in real life. First things first, let's talk about how your credit score is impacted when you cancel a credit card and how to avoid really messing it up in the process. At a high level here, your credit score is influenced by 5 key factors: payment history at 35%, amounts owed or credit utilization at 30%, length of credit history or average age of accounts at 15%, credit mix at 10%, and new credit at 10%. But when it comes to closing a credit card, there are really only 2 factors that we care about here: credit utilization and your average age of accounts. Starting with the big one here, credit utilization. This makes up 30% of your credit score, and all it is looking at is how much of your available credit you're actually using. So of course, whenever you cancel a credit card, you're going to be losing that credit limit associated with the card, which means you're shrinking your total available credit, and that can make your credit utilization spike even if your spending remains completely unchanged. Here's a quick example to paint this picture. Let's say that you have 3 credit cards right now with limits of $3,000, $5,000, and $10,000. That would be $18,000 of total available credit. So let's say that you've spent $1,800 across those 3 credit cards this month. Your utilization would be at 10%, which is solid and about as high as us gamers like to go. But now let's say that you actually cancel that $10,000 credit limit card. Now your total limit is going to drop all the way down to just $8,000, and that same $1,800 balance will shoot your utilization above 20%, and that will dramatically impact your score. I say that this is the number one reason that you hear people saying that they canceled the credit card and their score tanked, but it's actually really easy to avoid this, and you have a few options to do so, including just paying down your balances right before canceling, opening a new credit card around that same time to eat up that lost credit limit, or, and maybe this is a bit more advanced, but if you have another card with the same lender, you can actually transfer your credit limit from the one you're canceling to that open one, and that mitigates that damage. And honestly, the longer you're in this game and the more credit cards you have with higher credit limits, the less that this even matters. But for those of y'all who are earlier on, this is like really important to know. The second thing people worry about is their credit history, and this is where there's a lot of misinformation online. A lot of people think that whenever you cancel a credit card, you will instantly lose all of the history from it, but that's just not true. As long as you close a credit card in good standing, it'll actually stay on your credit report for another 10 years, and during that time, it's going to be helping your credit score, not hurting it. I think the confusion comes from apps like Credit Karma, which use the Vantage scoring model that places more emphasis on the average age of currently active open accounts rather than the total credit history. But the scoring model that actually matters to all these banks, FICO, includes those closed positive accounts, which is going to boost your average age. On my end, you can actually see this play out in real life. My Equifax through Credit Karma shows my average age of accounts as 2 years and 11 months. If I go to my Experian app instead, it's 3 years and 2 months. Either way though, eventually that closed account will fall off of your report. So you still want to plan ahead to avoid any big drops later on. And in reality, the best way to do that is just by keeping open your oldest credit card account with a small charge on it every few months and have auto pay that statement balance off every single month. If for some reason that oldest card does have an annual fee on it, I would definitely recommend looking to downgrade that to a no annual fee option before just going ahead and canceling it. But I do understand that sometimes there are some predatory lenders that will keep you trapped with an annual fee card, and in that case, I would rather save the money for years to come rather than worry about that hit to my credit score that may never even come 10 years later. If you do decide to cancel your oldest card, whether it has an annual fee or not, the best advice I can give you is to make sure you're building up other accounts over time to replace the history of that card. And once again, the longer that you're in this game and the beefier your credit profile, the less this becomes something you need to worry about. Another interesting thing that people don't know about average age of accounts is that canceling a card can actually improve it depending on which one you close. Going back to our example from earlier, let's say that the 3 cards have a 10-year history, a 5-year history, and and a 3-year history. Well, the average age of those three would be 6 years. But if you were to cancel that oldest credit card, then your average age would drop to 4 years, which obviously hurts your score. But if you cancel that newest card, your average age will actually rise to 7.5 years, and that will have the opposite impact to your score. Just note though that you do generally need to keep a card open for at least a year to avoid any issues with welcome offer clawbacks and all of that, but you should keep this tip in your back pocket for future reference. So at the end of the day, when you cancel a credit card, the only real risk to your credit score are your utilization going up and your average age of accounts eventually decreasing. But if you plan for both of those things ahead of time, you can cancel a credit card without any real impact to your score at all. Speaking of planning things out, it's also really important to plan out when exactly to cancel your cards. But tracking whether or not you've been using all the credits and benefits across all your cards can be overwhelming once you have a few. And that's why I use Max Rewards to help me manage my setup. Max Rewards is an all-in-one credit card management app that allows you to track all of the important information about all of your cards, no matter what lender they come from, in one convenient interface. But for that more granular tracking of benefits, I personally pay for their paid tier called Max Rewards Gold to get access to the Benefits Tracker tab, which just helps you calculate your effective annual fees more easily and help determine whether or not you should be canceling. Their Gold tier also gives you access to a bunch of other useful tools, and one of my favorites is the automatic offer activation feature. And since I've had Max Rewards Gold, that feature alone has more than covered the cost of the subscription every year. So definitely a wise investment in my opinion. But don't get me wrong, you do not need to pay for Max Rewards Gold to get a lot of value from their app. They also have a really solid free version, which gives you all that information that I mentioned earlier outside of the benefits tracker, as well as other cool tools like the best card one that shows you exactly what card you should be using depending on what category you're spending in. Better yet, at your exact location too, to take out all the guesswork. So if you want to check them out, and even just their free version, either scan the QR code on screen or visit the link in my description that has my code attached, maxrewards.com/Spencer, and that'll lock in a 25% discount off of Max Rewards Gold if you decide to upgrade to it in the future. So definitely take them up on that. And as always, big thank you to Max Rewards for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into it. Okay, well, the next logical question now would be, when does it actually make sense to cancel a credit card in the first place? Let's walk through 5 different reasons, and if one of these applies to you, there's a very good chance that you're going to be wasting money by keeping your card open. First is you're paying an annual fee you can't justify. I mean, this one is pretty straightforward. If you're not getting enough value from a card's benefits or credits to justify the annual fee, then you need to get rid of it. After many consulting calls and wallet audit videos, I've seen this constantly. People trying to force value out of a card because they saw a video saying how good it is. But just know this. You should never have to change your spending habits to justify a credit card. A card should naturally fit your lifestyle, not the other way around. So even if you need to sacrifice 1 point per dollar spent on certain purchases to avoid paying a higher annual fee or trying to claw it back with some really annoying credits, trust me, it's worth doing. I would strongly encourage you after this video to actually sit down and audit your wallet, because in doing so, you may realize that you're wasting hundreds, if not thousands of dollars every year. And if you're sitting there thinking that there is no way that what I'm saying applies to you, then you're exactly who I'm talking to. Reason number 2 is that you've shifted your strategy. Honestly, your setup should not be static forever. It should always be evolving as your spending and priorities change. Maybe at one point you were single and you were all in on traveling the world, but now you're married and you're trying to settle down and maybe want to lean more towards cashback. Or what if there's just been new cards that have entered the market that fit your lifestyle better? Or maybe even simpler than both of those, you've accumulated multiple cards doing practically the exact same thing, similar earning rates, credits, benefits, and now you're just overlapping for no reason. That last point specifically is becoming an epidemic these days, with every single lender copying and pasting the same premium travel cards over and over. So now is a better time than any to reevaluate. To be fair though, even if your strategy has changed, that does not mean you should automatically cancel a card, especially if you're considering doing that with a card that has no annual fee and is only helping your credit score. In a lot of cases, I would actually say that you'd be better off product changing that card to something that fits your needs better while keeping that credit history and limit alive. Reason number 3 is that you're managing too many cards. This is something that almost all of us will eventually run into if we stay in this space long enough, because when you're earlier on, it's fun to optimize every single dollar you spend and stack as many cards as possible. But over time, you start to realize that simplicity actually matters a lot more than you thought. Managing a ton of cards, tracking credits, remembering which cards to use where, it all adds up. And at a certain point, your time becomes much more valuable than the extra marginal return you would get by spending your time trying to maximize. Through this channel, I've connected with a lot of people who have been in this game for years, if not decades. And it seems like the longer that they're in it, the more simple their setup becomes. So if you're starting to feel that burnout, or you just want to clean things up a bit, downsizing your setup can make a lot of sense. Just be careful to not go too overboard here though if you only have a few cards to begin with, because early on, every account that you have matters a lot more for that credit utilization and average age of accounts. I'm going to keep reminding y'all of that just in case you forgot. Reason number 4 is that you're trying to free up credit for a new card. This one doesn't get talked about much, but it's something that I've personally run into, and I'm sure a lot of you have or will too. As a general rule of thumb, banks are only going to extend you a certain amount of total credits across all of the cards that you have with them based on your income. So if you're running through a lot of cards, like I do, eventually you start getting denied because of those limits. To get around this, you may need to cancel a card or two to free up that credit to open something new. The first and I guess only time I faced this so far was last year when I got hit with my first ever denial. I think it was on my 21st card application with the Hyatt business card from Chase. Card that I didn't even really want that bad. So that was a real punch in the gut. But the main reason for that denial was exactly what we're talking about here. I had too much unused credit with them. Because of that, I decided to cancel a few cards of theirs that I just wasn't really using anymore. And after doing that, I've actually been able to get approved for more Chase cards with no issues, specifically another Ink Cash and the IHG Premier Business. So yeah, this is definitely something to keep an eye on, especially if you're getting a lot of cards from the same lender. 5th is that you want to reset for a sign-up bonus. This one is maybe a bit more advanced, but knowing it can massively increase your point earning potential. If you didn't know, a lot of issuers have rules that prevent you from earning the same welcome offer multiple times in short succession. But after a certain amount of time, you actually become eligible again. Like think about the Capital One Venture cards and the Citi 48-month rules. But the catch is that you normally can't hold that same card whenever you go to reapply. So canceling or product changing your current card is the only way to open that door again. Of course, depending on the bonus here, this strategy can drastically outweigh the value of keeping a card long term. So I would definitely consider it if I were you. But I will say that being able to do this is becoming a lot less common as banks tighten their welcome offer eligibility rules. I'm looking at you, Chase. But there are still ways to make this work. Now, I want to be clear here that just because one of those 5 reasons applies to you, that doesn't mean that you absolutely need to cancel a card. So you need to factor in other things like how old that card is, how high its credit limit is, and whether it offers unique perks that you just can't get elsewhere, especially if it's going to be really hard for you to re-get that card in the future. That was a big part of why I held on to the Capital One Venture X for as long as I did. Hopefully all of this gives you a solid lens to look at each of your cards through. And also, I know that list isn't extensive, so if any of you have other reasons that you've canceled the card, definitely be sure to leave those in the comments. Okay, so at this point, I want to tie in everything we've talked about into real life examples and walk through why I've personally canceled 6 cards over the past 6 months. Up front, I'll mention that this does not include the Amex Gold card that I canceled back in 2024. I have made full videos about that cancellation process and whether or not I regret doing that. So I would definitely check those out if you haven't yet. But what's interesting about these 6 more recent cancellations is that none of them were actually personal credit cards. And no, that wasn't an accident. That's very intentional. Business cards are kind of the cheat code to this credit card game because most of them do not report to your personal credit. Outside of the initial hard inquiry whenever you apply for a business card, they are basically invisible to your personal credit profile, which means you can apply for them and cancel them without impacting your credit utilization or your average age of accounts at all. This is exactly why business cards have been such a massive part of my credit card strategy and helped me earn millions of points that I wouldn't have earned otherwise. And I've made a full video about why even you who doesn't have a business should be considering business cards. So check that one out if you haven't seen it either. Getting to the specifics here though, the first 2 that I canceled were on the same day, August 5th of 2025, the Chase Ink Cash and Chase Ink Preferred. And we kind of talked about this earlier, but the reason I canceled both of these had to do with freeing up credit with Chase. At this time, I had just been denied for that Hyatt business card because I had too much unused credit with Chase. So I knew it was time to consolidate. And looking at my overall Chase credit card setup, I knew I didn't really want to touch the personal cards since most of them had no annual fee and were only positively benefiting my score. So I turned my attention to my business cards instead, and the Ink Cash and Ink Preferred, while both good cards in their own right, just were not getting as much use as I would have thought. So they were the easiest ones to part ways with. But before canceling, I actually implemented a strategy we talked about earlier, where I transferred some of my credit limit from the Ink Preferred to my Chase Ink Unlimited, which I used much more frequently. Did that actually impact my credit utilization? No. The main reason I did that was just because the credit limit on my Ink Unlimited was so low and I used it so much that I didn't want to have that cap bearing over me. So this just goes to show that transferring limits has more use cases than just helping with utilization. About 3 months after those two cancellations, I canceled card number 3, the Southwest Performance Business, but for a completely different reason. This one came down to just one thing: the annual fee. I originally got this card back in 2024 to help me lock in the Southwest Companion Pass for 2 years, which it did its job perfectly for. Been flying off of that for quite some time now. But when that second annual fee hit on it, I had to reevaluate it without the sign-up bonus in the picture. And after looking at all the benefits and calculating my effective annual fee, I just couldn't justify keeping it long term. Plus, I knew that I would have to reapply for it later anyways to get the companion pass again, so I decided to bite the bullet and just cancel it. As a side benefit, this also helped reduce my total unused credit with Chase, just like the last two, but that was more just icing on the cake and not the core reason that I dropped it. And then we come to the last 3 cards: the Atmos Business, the Hawaiian Business, and the Chase Ink Premier, which as of just a couple of weeks ago at the time of recording, I canceled all of in one day. I know that sounds like a drastic move, but all 3 of these cards came from a video last year where I applied for 3 cards in one day to maximize my return on a massive tax bill that I had. And if you go watch that video, you'll see that I already knew back then that I would not keep these cards after year 1. They were just purely applied for the sign-up bonuses. For those curious as to why I couldn't justify them, since they can be decent cards, with the Atmos and Hawaiian Business cards, I never fly directly with either of those airlines, so the benefits of their cards just didn't do anything for me. And then the Chase Ink Premier, while it technically is marketed as a Ultimate Rewards point earning card, you cannot transfer its points to your travel cards. You can't transfer those points out to transfer partners. So it's basically just a glorified cashback card that costs $195 per year and doesn't have any credits to offset that. So yeah, that one was the easiest one to cancel for sure. When you zoom out and look at all 6 of these, they all fall into the reasons to cancel a card that we talked about earlier, either having unjustifiable annual fees, freeing up credit for new approvals, and just simplifying a setup that had gotten bigger than it needed to be. But one part of the cancellation process that I haven't touched on yet is retention offers. Basically, retention offers are where the bank will try to give you like some kind of points or statement credits or something like that to incentivize you to keep the card open for another year. And in some cases, it can very well be worth taking that retention offer and paying the annual fee again. In my case, I got a couple of those when canceling those 6 cards, but honestly, they just weren't great. Like for the Atmos Business card, Bank of America offered me something I had never seen before, a credit limit increase, but for a card that I never touched after the offer, that just wasn't worth it. And then for the Hawaiian Business card, Barclays offered me 5,000 points for like a couple $1,000s in spend, and that's just horrible, like just obviously not worth taking. So I passed on both and went through with the cancellations, but with my Amex Gold that I've mentioned a couple of times, I did keep it an extra year thanks to a retention offer. So yeah, your mileage may vary here and they're definitely getting harder to come by as well, but you should absolutely be asking for them before canceling the card. Another really important thing that I have yet to mention somehow is that if you do decide to cancel a card, you need to be absolutely sure that you won't lose all of your points in the process. Generally, the bank will give you 30 days after canceling to either use or transfer your points to another card. So if you have cards within the same family as the one you're canceling, like has always been the case with me and my Chase cards, that's no problem at all. But if it's the lone card in an ecosystem, please be sure that you have a plan to use those points before that timer is up. Honestly, ideally before you even make the call to cancel. And really that applies mainly to the transferable currency cards, because with the airline and hotel cards, at least most of the time, if not all of the time, I don't want to jump the gun too much, but your points are stored with your membership number tied to like your loyalty account and not the card itself. So you can cancel them while keeping the points alive, but definitely be sure to do your research beforehand. Hopefully those examples paint a clearer picture for you, and at this point you feel confident about canceling credit cards safely. But remember that everything we've talked about today is only one side of the equation. The other is knowing how often you should be applying for new cards to avoid getting denied. And to learn more about that, click into this video next. As always, Odin and I really appreciate you watching this video. If you enjoyed it, consider leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and checking out all the links in my description. That's the best way to support us. And with that being said, we'll catch you guys next time.